Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't believe that they did it this late in the year to. Ah.
Must have been busy golfing all summer.
Good morning. 2 centuries is a long time by modern standards. However, the human history of this land is far older than that, reaching back millennia. The land that the city of Thorold and this canal are situated on is treaty land, steeped in the rich traditions of the First Nations, such as the Adiwandawang, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island who live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Thank you. I'm Anna O'Hare, Chair of Heritage Thorold. On behalf of the City of Thorold and the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation, I welcome all of you to commemorate this historic occasion. Over 2 centuries ago, 3 Niagara businessmen, William Hamilton Merritt, George Kiefer, and John DeCoux, hatched the plan of building a canal to connect Lake Ontario to Lake Erie, to ease shipping across the Great Lakes and to provide power to the individual enterprises in the process. On November 30th, 1824, the first shovel of soil was turned of what would become the first Welland Canal, at that time extending to Port Robinson, where it then connected to the Welland and Niagara rivers down to Fort Erie. The project was widely expected to fail, but here we are, 200 years later to the day. In 2029, Niagara will be celebrating the 200-year anniversary of the first passage through the completed canal, which happened exactly 5 years after the turning of the sod on November 30th, 1829. But it took the vision of the people who conceived the idea and that first shovel in the ground to make it happen, and that is what we're commemorating today. I'm absolutely delighted at this crowd who showed up here today. It is a little bit unexpected and we are absolutely thrilled. So many guests from historical research, commerce, and politics to help us celebrate this important event in our history. I won't be able to name you all, but thank you for taking the time to be here. I would, however, like to mention Thorold City staff's dedicated efforts in making this event happen and the generous support we received from the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation, Brock University's Archives and Special Collections, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Canadian Antiques and Vintage Magazine, and Dave Benison's Historical Niagara. A special thanks to Alicia Floyd from Brock for writing an article about this event, and to Herb and Sophie Bond for publishing it in this month's issue of their magazine. Also, we are very fortunate today to welcome Dr. Richard Merritt, descendant of William Hamilton Merritt. And do we have Mr. John and Mr. Adam Hawley here today as well? Yes, also direct descendants of William Hamilton Merritt, who was the driving force behind the canal. Mrs. Karen Hunt, descendant of George Kiefer, the first president of the Welland Canal Company and the very man who turned the sod 200 years ago. And Bob McBride, third great-grandson of Captain John DeCoux of DQ House and Wharf 1812 fame. Mr. McBride, Mrs. Hunt, Mr. Hawley, Senior and Junior, and Dr. Merritt. Your presence today gives this event a very personal connection and is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Mike Sequin, resident of Port Robinson, will now give a short welcoming address in French.
Mesdames et messieurs, en tant que franco-ontarien de Port Robinson, Thorold, je suis heureux d'être ici parmi vous. La ville de Thorold ainsi que ce canal est situé sur des terres en vertu des traités. Ces terres sont enrichies de traditions de Premières Nations et nous avons plusieurs gens de Premières Nations, les Métis, les Inuits locaux, à travers l'île Tortue, qui demeurent et travaillent parmi nous à Niagara aujourd'hui. Nous appuyons les populations autochtones du passé ainsi que le présent afin de promouvoir et réaliser la gérance environnementale des terres où on demeure. Au nom de la ville de Thorold, la Corporation de la voie maritime du Saint-Laurent, je vous souhaite la plus cordiale bienvenue pour célébrer cette occasion historique aujourd'hui. Plus de 2 siècles passés, 3 gens d'affaires, William Hamilton Merritt, George Kiefer, Jean Decoux, ont eu la vision de réaliser un plan pour construire un canal pour rejoindre le lac Ontario avec le lac Erie, afin qu'ils puissent fournir de l'énergie pour leurs entreprises industrielles. Le 30 novembre 2024, la première pelletée de terre est virée et ce travaux est devenu le premier canal Welland qui s'est rendu jusqu'à Port Robinson. Ensuite, on connecte les rivières Welland et Niagara au canal jusqu'au lac Erie. Ce grand projet s'attendait de s'échouer par une grande majorité. Mais voilà, 2 ans plus tard, à la même journée, nous sommes ici avec le canal. En 2029, Niagara va célébrer l'anniversaire de 200 ans du premier passage du canal complet, qui va être exactement 5 ans après la première pelletée de la Terre du novembre 1824. Mais ça a pris la vision des gens pour concevoir l'idée et le réaliser. Et c'est ceci que nous célébrons aujourd'hui. Pour nous aider à célébrer cet événement historique, nous accueillons chaleureusement les invités de la recherche historique, commerce et la politique, ainsi que les descendants directs de M. Merritt, Kiefer et Decoux. Et à vous tous, pour votre support et dévouement qui a fait cette célébration possible. On vous remercie d'être parmi nous ce fin de novembre. Merci et bonne journée.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Mike. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of Thorold's Heritage Committee who are here today, Jonathan Sharon, Linda and Ray Boland, Mary DeKaiser, Dave Tufford, Ricardo Socio, our Vice Chair Winsome Stack, who did the graphic design of today's program brochure, and our City of Cancer representative, Tim O'Hare. Finally, a very heartfelt thank you to Tom Russell, Port Robinson native and long-standing Heritage Thorold member who went above and beyond to make this event a success. First by heading an early working group with Mary and Dave, and then by being our liaison with Brock University, Canadian Antiques and Vintage, Historical Niagara, the Merritt family, and the RCMP. Here is Tom now to give a short account of the history of the canal.
Good morning, folks. Over 200 years ago today, 34 members of the Welland Canal Company assembled here to celebrate the very first canal. It was the turning of the sod that they were here to celebrate. Many of the members of the canal company felt the greatest challenge to the success of the canal was going to be the Niagara Escarpment. In fact, it was difficult. Now, they looked at the canal, the section of the canal from here to Port Robinson, and they felt that was going to be relatively easy. It turned out not to be. In fact, it was very, very difficult. And so today I thought I'd talk just a little bit about the canal from here to Port Robinson. Port Robinson was considered to be the southern terminus of the first Welland Canal. The concept was to remove or have the water come from the Welland River into the new canal at Port Robinson, flow this way to Ellenburg, to the escarpment, and finally into Lake Ontario. The canal company had determined that they would have to dig approximately 34 feet to reach the level of the Welland River. Well, that was an understatement. It actually turned out to be about 55 feet, prevented a great problem for them. In addition, they had to deal with landslides, they had to deal with unstable soil, and other things with the canal. They proceeded and they moved along quite well. It took longer than they thought, and they were making good progress, and they reached a point where they actually felt they were about 10 days away from having the water from the Welland River enter the canal and flow to Ellenburg. Then disaster struck. They hit a very large sinkhole in Port Robinson. One of the canal workers was actually killed, and numerous others were injured. They then turned their eyes to Dunnville and the Grand River because they needed to find another water source. And this started the construction of the feeder canal. Now the feeder canal proceeded through Wainfleet into Welland. They had to build a wooden aqueduct over the Welland Canal to bring the water to Port Robinson. In addition, they needed to build 2 new locks in Port Robinson, lock number 38 and lock number 39, to allow the ships to lock down into the Welland River. Now this particular section of the canal was quickly named the Deep Cup. Today it is still called the Deep Cup for obvious reasons. The canal was completed, as Anna said, in 1829, and the ships were successfully passing through the canal. Now, of interest, the canal had 2 names during the construction. Merritt's Ditch, in honor of William Hamilton Merritt, who is reconsidered to be the father of the Welland Canal, and also the Wooden Canal, because the majority of the component parts of the canal were made of wood. The canal company didn't have the money to make the canal of limestone. And so 200 years ago, they celebrated the beginning of the canal, and as Anna mentioned, exactly 5 years later to the day, the canal opened and the first ships were successful in passing through the canal. Thank you folks for coming out today. We really do appreciate you being here. It's an honor for our group to have such a large number of people attending. And again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Tom. Sorry, the wind is a little bit challenging. We're happy to have several members of the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation here today. The Seaway has been extremely generous in their support, especially in the sponsoring of this handsome commemoration plaque we will be unveiling shortly. I would like to invite SLSMC Vice President Operations Darcy Wilson to come up and say a few words.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, it is challenging with the wind, so we had hoped to bring a ship in close so you could actually see the actual operations in action. Unfortunately, we're windbound, so we have ships stacked up at both ends of the canal right now. So good morning. It's my honor to be with you today, and I bring greetings on behalf of the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation on this occasion of the 200th anniversary of the sod turning for the first Welland Canal. I don't know how they did it back then because the ground's still pretty hard today. 200 years ago, near this site we're standing on, a group of ambitious community builders, notably George Kiefer, William Hamilton Merritt, and John DeQ, along with 200 onlookers, such as us, were to turn the sod on a project that would forever change the face of the Niagara region and all of North America. Over the next 5 years, the workers removed 750,000 cubic meters of earth by shovel and axe, while living in shanty towns with their families along the canal site. It is especially poignant to be joined by some of the descendants of those original pioneers, and we thank you for being here today. Their hard work helped establish the first Welland Canal, the foundation of one of the most important trade routes in the world, the St. Lawrence Seaway. Challenging with the wind. Today, a 3,700 kilometer route that joins the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. As custodians of the current Welland Canal, the St. Lawrence Seaway is proud of the shipping route's history and the importance to our region's economy and identity. We are also optimistic about the future of the Welland Canal, as we are committed to building on its rich history, its legacy, and by making investments in the canal that facilitate the passage of all types of vessels, from commercial to cruise ships. Lastly, I'd like to offer a special word of thanks to all our Seaway employees, both present and past, for their efforts making the canal one of the most reliable and efficient shipping routes in North America. We would not be here today without their collective hard work and their dedication and commitment to this canal. Thank you very much and enjoy the day.
Thank you very much. Delegates from all levels of government are here present today to mark this milestone in our history. Representing the Government of Canada, here's our MP for Niagara Centre, Vance Badaway.
Well, thank you, Anna. Well, good afternoon. Are we all braving the cold here in Niagara? Why didn't they start building this canal in August? Well, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members of the Ellenburg Thorold community, and friends, may I first express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers for today's festivities. Wonderful job. Great work getting everybody together here to celebrate this wonderful event. Events like this truly embody the spirit of community, bringing us all together to celebrate the unique personality, character, and identity that make Thorold so special. This is who you are. This defines you. It is truly an honor to stand with you here today on the west bank of the Welland Canal here in Ellenburg. We gather to mark an extraordinary milestone in our shared history, the 200th anniversary of the first turning of the sod for the original Welland Canal on this very site. On November 30th, 1824, a bold vision took shape in the hands of determined workers and leaders who sought to overcome natural barriers that hindered commerce and transportation here in this great nation. That first shovel of earth marked the beginning of a project that would become one of the greatest engineering achievements of its time. A feat that changed not only the Niagara region, but also the trajectory of Canada and all of North America. The Welland Canal stands as a testament to ingenuity, resilience, and cooperation, connecting Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. It opened the heart of the continent to trade, fostering economic growth and making this region a critical link in the global supply chain, a role that it continues to play today. The men and women who built the canal faced immense challenges, from treacherous terrain to harsh weather, and yet they persevered. Their efforts carved out a waterway that would bring prosperity to generations, transforming Ellenburg here in the city of Thorold and surrounding Niagara communities into hubs of commerce and opportunity. As we unveil this commemorative plaque today, we honor the spirit of those pioneers. We also reflect on the canal's enduring legacy, a legacy of progress, innovation, and connection. The canal remains a living, working monument. Evolving with the times to meet the needs of our modern world, it continues to connect us to markets, to each other, and to a shared vision of a stronger, more prosperous future. The Welland Canal and the St. Lawrence Seaway have become the heart of the Niagara Ports Trade Corridor, Canada's canal corridor, driving economic growth, strengthening trade links, and supporting supply chain resilience. This vital infrastructure connects the Great Lakes to global markets, providing a waterway, a gateway, for the efficient movement of goods while fostering opportunities for innovation, sustainable development, and investments here in the Niagara region. Its strategic importance continues to make it a cornerstone of Canada's economic future. On behalf of the Government of Canada, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the City of Thorold, the many workers and families who have supported the canal's operation over the years, and to all those who have kept the history of this incredible achievement alive. As we celebrate this bicentennial, let us draw inspiration, not only from the determination and foresight, but of the people who put their time, effort from the past, the present, and well into the future. Of those who turned the first sod 2 centuries ago. May their legacy inspire each and every one of us to continue building, innovating, and connecting for the next 200 years. Before I step down from the podium, I do want to take this opportunity, and I was sort of torn on whether I present a plaque that commemorates the occasion, or I present a plaque that commemorates the individuals that worked so hard to put on this occasion. Well, I decided, because we have a plaque that's commemorating the occasion, I would have a plaque here to present to the Heritage Committee of the City of Thorold, Anna, on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the breaking of the sod, in recognition and appreciation for your and your team's contribution and commitment to the preservation of the City of Thorold's heritage, and to this, today, the 200th anniversary of the breaking of the sod. On behalf of the Government of Canada and the citizens of the Niagara Centre, I want to say to you, congratulations, thank you, and all the best in this momentous occasion. Well done.
Thank you very much, Vance. Representing the Government of Ontario, we welcome our MPP for Niagara Centre, Jeff Birch.
Well, thank you very much, Anna. There's never too much left to say when you follow Vance at events, but thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in Thorold near the Allenburg Lift Bridge to mark the 200th anniversary of the Welland Canal with a symbolic turning of the sod, and to acknowledge the economic impact and hard work of many immigrants who worked on the canal until its completion in 1829 with the unveiling of a commemorative plaque. Nearly 200 people came out to witness the first shovels for the Welland Canal being turned on November 30th, 1824. Over the last 200 years, this canal has shaped the region, driving economic development and opening the heart of North America to trade and commerce. Thorold and the Niagara region are once again seeing a resurgence of industrial growth, with new industries establishing themselves along the canal, including right here in Thorold. As a Thorold resident, I'm always impressed by the community pride and fantastic job done by the city in celebrating our heritage and history, and I love bragging about it in the Ontario legislature. There's a lot going on in this city. I heard even Santa Claus will be in Thorold today. So on behalf of the province of Ontario, I want to give a special thanks to Mayor Galini and his council, the City of Thorold, the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation, the Thorold Heritage Committee, Anna O'Hare, and all involved for organizing this important event. Thank you so much. And I do have a commemorative plaque for Anna and the advisory committee for all the hard work that they've done in organizing this event. Well done.
Let me thank you on the microphone so everybody hears it. Thank you so much, Jeff. I would now like to ask Thorold's Regional Councillor Tim Whalen to say a few words on behalf of Niagara Region.
Thank you, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here today on behalf of the region of Niagara as Thorold's Regional Councillor. And like Jeff says, once I follow Vance and Jeff, there's definitely nothing left to say. On the serious side, it's great to see this turnout here today. It's not every day that we get together to commemorate a 200th anniversary, let alone have so much meaning to Thorold and the Niagara region, as well as Canada and the U.S. So on behalf of the region of Niagara, I'd like to extend congratulations to the City of Thorold on the commemoration of the 200th anniversary of the breaking of the sod, which marked the start of construction of the first Welland Canal. The decision to begin construction here in Allenburg, most people don't know that Allenburg used to be the capital of Thorold back in the day. The City Hall was here and the courthouse, so it's great to get back home here. So the determination and foresight of those early leaders who recognized the value of connecting Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. The grand vision brought about the development of a vital transportation route that will foster trade, boost industry, and accelerate the growth of the Niagara region. The Welland Canal is an enduring legacy that continues to serve as a central link between the communities and the global economy. I want to thank the City of Thorold and the Heritage Committee for their tireless work at preserving and celebrating such rich heritage. Your dedication ensures the legacy of the Welland Canal and continues to inspire future generations. So Anna and the Historical Society, thank you for what you do. Keep up the good work and we'll look for many more of these to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Give it to you. We are coming to the end of our speeches. There's only one more, although he always still finds something to say and he always makes it a good speech. Representing the City of Thorold, here's Mayor Terry Ugolini.
Thank you, Anna. And I can tell you this, the sun usually shines in the City of Thorold and it's trying hard, but it's not real bright anyway. On behalf of City Council staff and our community, I'm honored to be here this morning to welcome everyone in attendance as we celebrate the 200-year anniversary of the turning of the sod for the first Welland Canal. With me today are Councillors O'Hare and Councillor Decker, our CAO Manoj Dalwaria, and Natalie Stickles from our communications group. Mayor Matt Cisco called me prior to getting here and something came up and he's unable to attend and he sends his regrets. Thank you, Heritage Thorold, for hosting today's event and the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation for your support, as well as providing the funding for the commemorative plaque. This is a monumentous occasion as the first shovel of soil for the first Welland Canal was lifted here in Allenburg, close to the Allenburg Bridge on November 30th, 1824, and I hope it was better weather than today. The first shovel went into the ground for a project which would be one of the greatest engineering achievements of its time, as well as open the heart of North American continent to trade and commerce. Of the three men who originally came up with the plan to build the canal, William Hamilton Merritt, George Kiefer, and John DeQ, two were settled in Thorold. The remnants of John DeQ's house still exist and are known today as the DQ House Heritage Monument, located in the DQ House Heritage Park, along with the First Nations Peace Monument. This is the site where the British troops were warned of an impending American attack at Beaver Dams in the War of 1812, over a decade before the construction of the canal. As you can see, there's a ton of important history in our great city. Another thing Allenburg's known for is the Allenburg Women's Institute, who were instrumental in the founding of Brock University. George Kiefer is commonly known as the father of Thorold and was hugely invested in the canal. It was he who turned the sod on November 30th, 1824. The canal put Thorold on the map. In 1824, Thorold was a township of a few hundred, centered around Beaver Dams, DQ Falls, and St. John's. In 1846, the community had a population of 1,000 and boasted 3 churches, a post office, 2 grist mills, a cement mill, a brewery, 3 wagon makers, and of course 7 taverns. With the improvements of the second Welland Canal, Thorold's economic clout soon became dominant. Businesses sprouted up along the canal and turned Thorold into an industrial and commercial center throughout the course of the 19th and early 20th centuries. Jacob Kiefer's flour mill, built in 1846, was one of the early enterprises in downtown Thorold, and as a designated heritage site, still stands as a proud monument to the history of the canal and the city of Thorold. In recent years, after a lag, Thorold has seen a resurgence in industrial growth, once again along the Welland Canal, and it has played a key role in these developments, with partners like the BMI Group, who have purchased the former Resolute, Georgia Pacific, and Hayes Dana properties, and Hope of Ports, who manages these properties, as well as the old McClary docks, and others. The future is bright. Multimodal capability makes this all possible, with the marine component an important part of that. Working together with our municipal partners along the Welland Canal, Port Colborne, Welland, St. Catharines, and Niagara-on-the-Lake, we are turning the Welland Canal trade corridor into something special and reinventing our past, building a marine strategy and seeing results. Today, we not only celebrate a significant event in our history, but pay tribute to the Welland Canal's enduring legacy and significance moving forward. Once again, I want to thank you all for being out to help us celebrate this 200-year milestone. Give yourselves a big hand for showing up today and enduring this weather. And I also have a commemorative, it's not a plaque, it's a framed, and it's as mayor of the city of Thorold, on behalf of city council and our community, it is my honor today to congratulate the city of Thorold on the commemoration of a 200-year anniversary of the breaking of the sod, presented to Heritage Thorold Committee with sincere appreciation for your significant contribution to the preservation of the city's built heritage. Thank you so much, Anna, and the great work Heritage Thorold does in our community. Now you can have the mic back.
Thank you. I'm not going to say much more. Well, don't go anywhere, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can I now ask Vice President Operations Darcy Wilson from the Seaway and Mayor Ugolini to do the honors to unveil the plaque?
Is everybody ready? Do I have to do a countdown? 3, 2, 1.
Here, where's the plaque? You want to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Darcy.
So just so everybody can read this, so it says celebrating 200 years of the Welland Canal. On November 30th, 1824, near this site, the first shovel went into the ground to begin the construction of the first Welland Canal. George Kiefer, president of the Welland Canal Company, turned the sod and said, "It is with pleasure that I remove the first earth from the Welland Canal, and I ardently hope that the work may continue uninterrupted until the whole is completed." On November 30th, 1829, the first passage of the Welland Canal took place, establishing one of the most important trade routes in North America, the St. Lawrence Seaway, dedicated by the SLSMC in the city of Thorold. And I guess we're open because here comes the John D. Leach. So